Program Director, His Excellency President Zuma, Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers, business people who are present here today, ambassadors, all dignitaries and all protocol observed. Allow me, just before I invite the President, just one word. I can see there's no time anymore for the President to speak. We'll just be very fast. I just want to indicate that the subject before us today and the programs that the President has launched, I know that the subject of poverty, the government of South Africa is very serious about attacking this so that we don't actually see poverty anymore. There is what we say poverty walking. You see it walking in the street. We don't want to see it anymore. We want to thank the President for the program's launch, and Mr. President, I want to say thank you very much. We all know that we are born and grown up in those areas which are poverty stricken, and you know when we talk about poverty, what is it that we're talking about? And we want to thank the partners also who have done such a wonderful job to support this program. This proves and shows that working together and really coming together and share the powers and the sources and the resources that we have, all of us can move forward and enjoy the fruits thereof. The evidence we have just heard here being given to us is such a marvelous one. It's amazing. What can we do in a short space of time if we are just serious to put our heads together and move forward? Mr. President, may I invite you to address the people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much indeed, Director of the program and your partners. Ministers, I'm happy you're here because I had to call you once we were already here. Funeko Minister Banjabazwayo. Ngithe noma ubupheka beka phansi amabhodi. Lizomakhelana baphekela umkhwenyana. Okayizolisikwa. But thank you very much indeed, Ambassador. Now, firstly, I must say you did something that I was going to do before you from Polar Park, because I wanted to tell you whilst I'm here to say I'm coming to Polar Park. Now you stole my thunder. You invited me, and I wanted to tell you I'm coming there because I'm keen to see where Operation Pakisa is working, and you have described it to a point where I felt that's where I needed to go. First thing. So you invited me, I invited myself, so it's fine. I'm coming to Polar Park. I must also express my happiness, but whereas don't do to Sbaj, I mean, whereas and we have to deal with the issue raised that good teachers are leaving teaching when we need them to go to business. We need to find a way to retain them and even bring back those who have left, because if we don't invest more in education, we would have been failing our country. So we'll talk about that, Master Sekar. Yeah, because we also are saying we are also living. Now, but thank you very much indeed. I think, no, I must also tell the first thing. I'm going to be meeting with the business people this afternoon, discussing investment, etc. I've been meeting with them for years and years. It's not easy to see exactly what is going to be happening after those meetings. At times we are told, in fact, since that interaction, this little thing has been done. I think here we are talking what is the real thing, and I will try to explain. You try to explain the dignified poverty. Marsha is in the beginning, I thought I'm getting convinced, but later I said, now, you need something else. But we'll talk about that when we're in South Africa. Yes. Somebody talked about poverty eradicated. Not yet. Not yet even. Because we still use containers. So we are still, if you were to compare, we are still there. So we need something more radical to describe what we are doing. I think it fits to what I would say, even then not completely. What I'm thinking, I'm going to be less than 5 years, I'll be out of government. I will be in my village. I'm telling you what is my dream, which I think it will be my last dream, because I'm no longer very young. No, am I very old? I'm somewhere. Because I wanted to build a college. We don't have a college at Nkandla. As a result, kids have to leave after completing a certain level. They must go away to continue studying. And I say, after that college, next to it, before I disappear from this earth, I will influence all powers that be to have a university. That's my dream. I thought I must start with that because I'm with the investors here.
That's right.
Well, that would be investment.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that those who are your partners are the people I know very well. But thank you very much. I was going to talk about the problem of the schools in South Africa, the shortage, what they used to be, mud schools, etc. But I thought the manner in which you have made your presentation, I should really just acknowledge it and say why I agree with you more than you would have thought I would agree. If we discuss South Africa, and I always put it different from other countries, and I know people always equate South Africa with other countries that are of its size. Even if they look at its economic performance, challenges, etc. What they did not, or they do not factor in, is that South Africa had a very bad system called apartheid, which deprived the overwhelming majority of its citizens to be part of a development in South Africa. They were always deliberately put behind. And therefore, the challenges in South Africa are more than any other country. If you talk about countries that are of a South African size, they are dealing with their people in a normal fashion. In South Africa, there is abnormality. That tells you the poor state of the schools, because they are only found in the areas of those people who were disadvantaged. She talked about Polar Park. You can't find a Polar Park in other countries which are of the same size as South Africa. There's no Polar Park, but you have it in South Africa. There is the reasons why the results are poor is precisely because of that. And the reason why we had to create two departments in education, basic education and higher education, we're trying to address this issue, because it meant that the kids of the majority are studying at schools where there is almost no starting. For them to pass matric is luck, and therefore the results of matric were always poor. The reason was that we were not paying attention to the foundation of education. This is what we've tried to do now, and we hope that after some time the situation will be better. Mathematics, much as Bari is a problem everywhere, but is worse in South Africa, because there was a deliberate policy from the apartheid that the black children should not be taught mathematics because they would not use it anyway. The job that they were to do would not require mathematics. So these are the challenges that are more than the countries that you can talk about. And therefore, if you were to say, what do you do with the South African challenges? I have been part of people who brought freedom in South Africa and thought, what then do we do to make South Africa to be like anybody else as a country in the world? It's always difficult. Where do you start? Because the challenges are huge. The policy of apartheid created some funny regions, which they called complete countries. And South Africa was supposed to be a colonizing country, having countries to give freedom. First, self-government. If they behave very well, they will be given complete independence. And there was no independence at all. And there was no self-government. They were governing. All they were running away from was to create a situation in the country that everybody is free, having all of them equal rights. So we are dealing with a complicated problem that we need to deal with. And we have therefore programs that we are running as a government, and I think we're trying our level best. And precisely because we know what are our problems. We, for an example, talked for a long time about rural development. What worried me was that we're all talking about it, but we're doing nothing serious about it. That led me to establish a department called Rural Development, to give some focus to rural development. I think there's a lot that they are trying to do, but if you sit and look at it, it's going to take a bit of time, because it's like haphazard, something there, some gardens there. You can't see a kind of a movement that is really changing the quality of life. And therefore, as I listened to a presentation today, it deals directly with the changing of the quality of lives of our people in a massive fashion. Because if you develop people in whatever way, if that is not accompanied by real education and scientific education, you empower them to some level, not completely. I think what you are presenting today, you are empowering people completely. Even if they were attending school where you get knowledge from a container, they are no longer different from those in a brick school.